Welcome dear students. This is Shumona Islam, lecturer, Department of English, Marston College. I hope all of you are enjoying your online classes and taking benefits from it. Dear students, today I am going to discuss another lesson from Unit 2. The title of the lesson is Greatest Scientific Achievements, Science and Technology Against an Age-Old Disease. After reading this passage, you are going to learn about leprosy, an infectious disease, the contribution of scientists in developing the vaccine, and how do advancements in medical science and technology help fight fatal diseases. So dear students, before starting the passage, I am going to discuss the vocabularies or the word meanings so that you can understand the passage clearly and at the same time you can know about the topic that I am going to discuss. So the first word is infectious, which means contagious, epidemic or spreading. Eliminate means to remove or ban. Antibiotic is the antiseptic or medicine. Antigen is immune. Now let's know about leprosy, the main topic of today's lesson. Leprosy is a contagious disease that affects the skin, mucous membranes and nerves, causing discoloration and lumps on the skin and in severe cases disfigurement and deformities. Then stigma means spot or stain, associate is company, remains is to dwell or abide, prevalent is conventional, going or popular. Progressive is developed or evolved. Then momentum is force or speed of movement. Collaboration is to join. Diagnosis is detection, finding or judgment. Assessment is evaluation or estimation. Approximately is almost or nearly. Then determine is to decide. Quantitative means estimated by quantity or amount. Then therapeutically is curably, immunize is vaccinate, breakthrough is advancement. Then quest means pursuit, hunt or probe, reagent is indicator, chronic is constant or incurable, shun is to avoid or reject. Then isolation means confinement or seclusion. Oversee is to supervise or inspect. Bolstered is strengthen or boost. Standardize is systematize or classify. So let's start the passage now. This is a passage written by Steve Reed, who is the founder, president and chief scientific officer of Infectious Disease Research Institute, that is IDRI. IDRI is a non-profit organization based in Seattle, USA. It develops novel and advanced products for the diagnosis, prevention and treatment of neglected diseases related to poverty. When I started working on the research and science of leprosy more than a decade ago, people thought this chronic infectious disease would eliminate itself and burn out over time. So, the passage begins with Steve Reed's realization or findings decades ago when he first started the research on leprosy. He found that people believed that this disease will not create any problem and people thought that this disease will diminish over time. We did not have time for that. Why? Nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy are diagnosed every year and many more go undetected. So, Steve Reed found that this disease will create problem as every year 250,000 people are infected by it and at the same time there are more cases that are not detected. Then approximately 10% of new cases occur in children. Even though it's associated with biblical times, leprosy remains a problem in the modern era and was reported in 130 countries worldwide. It is most prevalent in a number of countries throughout Africa, Asia and South America. So, this disease first appeared in the biblical times and it is creating problem still in this modern age, and it has become very much difficult to detect and make a cure for this disease. Symptoms include progressive and permanent damage to the skin, nerves, limbs and eyes, but they can take several years to appear, making the disease hard to diagnose at an early stage. So, this is the most difficult part of this disease, that is, it is not detected at an early stage, and this disease does not show any kind of symptom at the early stage where or when people can detect it and find a solution easily. Even worse, leprosy comes with a stigma that creates problem or makes a people isolated. Unlike most other diseases, leprosy results in isolation, as people with leprosy are often shunned. People thought that as this is an infectious disease, this can affect other people of the surroundings. The good news, however, is that we now have the key scientific solutions and momentum as well as key collaborations to finally have the opportunity to eliminate leprosy. I couldn't have said this 10 years ago. So, Steve Reed is saying that in these years they found a hope to find a solution or vaccine for this disease, which was not possible to say 10 years before. So, here we can see that Steve Reed is very much optimistic that recently they are going to invent or produce a vaccine for this disease that can help the people. At IDRI, we are also attacking leprosy in two different ways. First, by developing a fast, easy to use test that provides an early diagnosis of infection before clinical symptoms such as nerve damage begin to appear. This new approach is far superior This new approach is far superior to the traditional method of diagnosis. So, the IDRI is targeting to find out a symptom or diagnose the symptom at an early stage, which has generally involved clinical and or microscopic assessment. IDRI is also developing a companion test so that we can identify which people will likely progress to the disease and to determine the appropriate course of treatment. So, in the first phase, IDRI is trying to find out or detect the disease at an early stage, and they are also developing a companion test so that they can give treatment to the patients at an early stage. And second, by developing a vaccine that can be used therapeutically in conjunction with antibiotics to shorten therapy. They are also trying to invent a vaccine that can be used with antibiotic so that it can shorten the therapy or the treatment. Then IDRI's diagnostic tools would be used to identify infected individuals, and IDRI's vaccine would then be used on a targeted basis for treatment of the patient as well as to immunize family members and close contacts. So, it is another strategy of IDRI, that is their diagnostic tools can be used to identify the disease at an early stage, and at the same time they can also help the people and the family members of the infected people. So, IDRI has a plan to diagnose the disease and at the same time help the people of the infected areas and also the family members to immunize them to prevent this disease. Then this treatment and prevention strategy has been significantly bolstered by support from some pharmaceutical giants that donate the currently used antibiotics. So the strategy of IDRI has been appreciated by the pharmaceutical giants who are helping to develop antibiotics or vaccines for this kind of diseases. These pharmaceutical giants are contributing to develop the antibiotics for these diseases, so they have found the strategy of IDRI as a very significant one. Then the most exciting part of this breakthrough is the fact that we are now right on the course of human clinical trials after a decade of leprosy vaccine development. So here Steve Reed is very much optimistic that they can be able to find out a vaccine recently to cure this disease. Then the Food and Drug Administration will initially oversee the multi-stage trials in the USA before they move on to the Philippines, India and Brazil. Global technology has been an integral part of our quest to eliminate leprosy. So, global technology has a great contribution in the field of medical science as well. It helped the researchers or the scientists to develop or find out the vaccines or find a cure for such kind of infectious diseases. The rapid diagnostic test for leprosy infection, for example, was developed in conjunction with a Brazilian company. This company combined IDRI's leprosy diagnostic antigens with a smartphone-based platform that standardizes the ability to accurately interpret results and get a quantitative value. So, IDRI started working in conjunction with a Brazilian company. They are taking help of a smartphone based platform that is helping them to develop or diagnose the disease easily. That can help to interpret the result clearly and properly and get a quantitative value. The test requires just a single drop of blood mixed with a developing reagent. So, reagent is the substance that helps in chemical analysis or any kind of reaction. So, here we can see that IDRI is trying to develop a diagnostic process for which they need only a single drop of blood. The appearance of two lines indicates that the person is positive for leprosy. From there, the information from the phone is pushed to the person's medical records. So, through the smartphone based platform, it is easy to identify the disease and give the result to the person's medical records very easily. People around the world now believe we will soon have the tools to finally eliminate leprosy. The next step is making this disease disappear. So, nowadays people are very much hopeful that they can finally develop a vaccine or cure to this disease, and this disease will one day disappear from this world. So, that's all about the passage. From the passage we have learned that leprosy is not like other infectious diseases. It is very different from the other diseases. It's very evident from the passage that leprosy is a chronic disease that has a long-lasting effect on people's health. We have also found that leprosy causes a social impact as well. It makes people isolated from the others, because as this is an infectious disease, people believe that this can affect the surrounding people as well. So, the people with this disease become isolated from the others, and it creates a social distance among the people. So, this disease is really different from the other diseases, and at the same time we can see that scientists are struggling for decades to find out a solution, and recently they are hopeful or optimistic about the vaccine or the solution. Steve Reed is very much optimistic about the solution or the cure for this disease, as they are working in two different ways. that is, they are trying to find out a diagnostic test at an early stage and at the same time a vaccine for this test. They are very much hopeful to find out a solution or to eliminate or to remove this disease from the world. This passage also suggests that the technology and medical science can work together and find out a solution for humankind. So now it's time to give some activities. Underline the important information in the passage and then learn the vocabularies with synonyms and antonyms. These are the basic things that you are going to do. And without these activities, you are not going to learn anything or make a good mark in the exam. So when you are underlining the important information from the passage, it is going to help you to answer the questions and at the same time answer flowcharts. Besides, learning vocabularies with synonyms and antonyms will help you to answer MCQs as well. So my dear students, if you follow these instructions, you are going to have a very good understanding of the passage and it will surely help you to get a good mark in the exam. So that's all for today. Hope to see you in next class. Till then, Allah Hafiz.